everyone, welcome to Studios IELTS. My name is Surinder Chaudhary. Today I have brought you another workshop related to IELTS reading. There is one type of question which is quite confusing for many students, and that is match the information. There are a number of reasons behind that. Why is it confusing for some students, that I will discuss in details throughout the workshop. And in this workshop, I'm going to include all those methods which can be incorporated to understand, match the information correctly, and mark right answers as well. So let's move to the workshop directly. Well, in this workshop, I have taken a particular passage that is entitled as Monkeys and Forests. So, we are going to solve all those questions which are match the information questions in this passage. But before we go deep into the workshop, I would ask you to have a good look on the question preview first of all. There are 6 questions related to match the information type, and before going to the questions itself, we are supposed to understand the instructions. Well, read carefully. In instructions, they have given you some paragraphs in a passage which are from paragraph A to paragraph H, and you have 6 questions to match with these. You have to find that which information is actually available in which paragraph. Okay, another important thing in match the information is this instruction NB. You can clearly see they say that you may use any letter more than once. How do you do that? For example, you have 6 questions. It is not mandatory that every question will have different answer for it. Means it is not mandatory that every question is situated in different paragraphs. Sometimes there are some paragraphs which contain more than one question or which contain more than one information. For example, if we are going to study paragraph B, this is just an example. If you are studying paragraph B, you might find the answer of question number 1 as well as question number 4 in paragraph B. So eventually you can mark answer B for question number 1 as well as question number 4. So this is how NB works, and it allows you to mark two answers for a single answer for two different questions. So this is the question preview. Have a good look on it. You can take a screenshot as well, and then we will move to our workshop where we are going to solve these questions one by one. Okay, so now we will apply that approach which is the most suitable one for solving match the information type of questions, and that is to understand paragraph completely. Right? First thing first, do your scanning before reading the questions. Also do your skimming before reading it. When you are done with these two activities, with these two methods, then I would recommend you to have a look on questions properly. Right? So now you can see all 6 questions in detail. You are supposed to go through these, understand their meaning, and then you can go into deep reading, in-depth reading that I call, and that in-depth reading will take you to the right location where the answers are available. Okay, as I told you, many students get confused in this type of question. So what are those reasons behind that? First thing, you go for keywords. When you go for keywords only, you might find these keywords in a number of paragraphs that you will definitely encounter in this as well, because I will tell you which keyword was available in which paragraph, but that was not the accurate answer. Secondly, you might be confused it being uh, allowing you to give multiple answers. For example, if you are having same answer for question number 1 and same answer for question number 4. So in that case, you also get confused whether I'm supposed to, if I have already marked paragraph A for question number 1, for example, is it okay to mark A for question number 4 as well? So these are some of the confusions that you guys face when you are solving these questions, match the information questions. So after scanning, I am going to take you to the entire methodology where you can solve these type of questions. So first of all, I have read all the questions, and now I am going to establish the connection between the given text and the given question. So read with me, as I always recommend my students to read completely. If you read things completely, you will be able to establish those meanings very clearly. If you don't do that, it's going to be a difficult task for you. If you are just sticking on keywords, that will take you into confusion. So let's read it, and read with me, please. Okay, it says Ken Glanter, a primatologist from Duke University, gazes into canopy, tracking the female's movements. Holding a dart gun, he waits with infinite patience for the right moment to shoot. With great care, Glanter aims and fires. Hit the rump, the monkey wobbles. This howler belongs to a population that has lived for decades at Hacienda La Pacifica, a working cattle ranch in uh, Guanacaste, Guanacaste province. Other native primates, white-faced capuchin monkeys and spider monkeys, once were common in this area too, but vanished after the Pan American Highway was built nearby in the 1950s. Most of the surrounding land was clear cut for pasture. So, what I have understood from this, there is research going on by somebody, a primatologist, right, who is from Duke University. He shoots a monkey, a female monkey, whose species is howler. It said this howler belongs to a population that has lived for decades. That has lived for decades. So howler still survives there. It is available, but it has also made a comparison with two other species of monkey that are white-faced capuchin monkeys and spider monkeys. But about that, it said these were common ones, but after the construction of this highway, these have disappeared. So this is something I have understood from paragraph A. So let's try to match it with given statements, given information. So let's go one by one here. Okay, a reference of reduction in forest inhabitants. Well, no, there is no forest inhabitants are mentioned here. No doubt monkeys are there. Monkeys population has also been mentioned, that which has been reduced, but still forest inhabitant reduction is not something that has been mentioned here. Okay, then it says only one species of monkey survived while the other two species were vanished. Exactly. Howler survived, which has been living here, right? But capuchin monkeys and spider monkeys are no longer existing in this area. So I would mark question number 2 from paragraph A. So answer to my question number 2 is paragraph A. Only A I would mark there in my answer sheet. So these are the locations. You can pause the video and you can establish that location yourself the way I have explained. So this is one species that has survived. These are two species which has been eradicated. Okay, moving to paragraph B. Now, why have I marked this green? Because this is a great practice to avoid distractions. The reason is I have already answered this question, so it shouldn't bother me anymore when I'm moving to my next question. So I have marked it green, or you can underline it, or you can circle it that yes, you have already marked this question. So you don't have to worry about it again. Now we are going to read paragraph B. What paragraph B says? Let's read it. Howlers persist at La Pacifica, Glander explains, because they are leaf eaters. They eat fruit when it's available, but unlike capuchin and spider monkeys, do not depend on large areas of fruiting trees. Howlers can survive any place you have half a dozen trees because their eating habits are so flexible. He says, in forests, life is an arms race between trees and the myriad creatures that feed on leaves. Plants have evolved a variety of chemical defenses ranging from bad tasting tannins, which bind with plant produced nutrients, rendering them indigestible, to deadly poisons such as alkaloids and cyanide. So, if you read it again, that you can do by pausing the video, you will find that the whole paragraph is talking about the eating pattern or eating habits of howler monkeys and the source of nutrients where they get it from, right? So in this way, out of this understanding, we will try to establish the connection between the given questions. So let's have a look. uh, Reduction in forest inhabitants, haven't been mentioned. So question number 1 and question number 2 are out of equation. Question number 3 says a reason for howler monkey of choosing new leaves. Right? Plants have been mentioned, leaves have been somehow mentioned because they are leaf eaters. But why do they choose new ones is not the direct connection here. Okay, going ahead, uh, mention to howler monkeys nutrient and eating habits. Well, this is something that I will stick upon because in this question they are saying that a paragraph is mentioning about nutrients that howlers gain from somewhere, and what kind of eating habits they have. They are leaf eaters, right? Their eating habits are very flexible, etc., etc. Right? So this is how I would mark this as my answer. So you can also see the right locations for that. You can pause the video, you can establish the connection between location and the question, and I'm sure you are going to get your answers right here. Moving ahead, paragraph C. Okay, what's there in paragraph C? It says, uh, all primates, including humans, have some ability to handle plant toxins. We can detoxify a dangerous poison known as caffeine, which is deadly to a lot of animals. Glander says for leaf eaters, long term exposure to a specific plant toxin can increase their ability to diffuse the poison and absorb the leaf nutrients. Now, this is what I'm talking about, the you can say uselessness of sticking to keywords only. For example, now this word is here, nutrients. So if you talk about keywords, this nutrient word will directly associate to question number 4. But question number 4 has already been answered in paragraph B. So, what confuses you? If you are sticking to keywords only without understanding the context of statement, without understanding the meaning or crux of your paragraph, you are not going to establish the right connections here and you will end up marking wrong answer. So that is why I ask you to avoid only keyword strategy. No doubt keywords are handy when you are doing your reading, but sticking to keywords only is not going to help you in any way. So please avoid that strategy. Okay, going ahead, the leaves that grow in regenerating forests like those at La Pacifica are actually more howler friendly than those produced by the undisturbed centuries old trees that survive farther south in the Amazon basin. So what they are saying, no doubt they are howlers are leaf eaters, one thing, and where do they get their nutrient from and which are more friendly to them. You can see the leaves that grow in regenerating forests, mean new forests, new trees, new leaves, I would say, which are actually growing recently. These are more howler friendly, they are saying. Okay, we are going to read it completely. In the younger forests, trees put most of their limited energy into growing wood, leaves, and fruits, so they produce much lower levels of the toxin than do well established old growth trees. They have also explained the reason why is it more howler friendly, why howlers choose the new trees, new leaves for themselves because they have less toxins. So let's try to establish the connection with our question. Okay. Uh, Question number 1, a reference of reduction in forest inhabitants. Again, not mentioned anywhere. Reduction hasn't been talked about. Then question number 3 says, a reason for howler monkey of choosing new leaves. Yes, there is a reason. Reason is very clear in front of you because these regenerating forests do have less toxins in comparison to the fully grown trees, because the focus of these newly grown trees are quite somewhere else and they don't produce much of the toxins. So this is how you establish the connection between paragraph C and question number 3. Going ahead, it comes paragraph B. Okay, what paragraph? Paragraph D. Sorry, paragraph D says the value of maturing forests to primates in is a subject of study at Santa Rosa National Park, about 35 miles northwest of Hacienda La Pacifica. The park hosts populations not only of mantled howlers but also of white-faced capuchins and spider monkeys. Yet, the forests there are young, most of them less than 50 years old. Capuchins were the first to begin using the reborn forests when the trees were as young as 14 years old. Howlers, larger and heavier than capuchins, need somewhat older trees with limbs that can support their greater body weight. A working ranch at Hacienda La Pacifica also explains their population boom in Santa Rosa. Howlers are more resilient than capuchins and spider monkeys for several reasons. Howlers are more resilient than other species of monkeys. uh, Fedigan explains, they can live within a small home range as long as the trees have the right food for them. They can live anywhere, in nutshell. Right? They are so flexible that they can live anywhere. Spider monkeys, on the other hand, occupy a huge home range, so they can't make it in fragmented habitat because they need a bigger range. They are talking about spider monkeys now, not howlers. Howlers are very flexible, they say. So they need a huge range of houses and they cannot live in fragment habitat. So let's try to establish the connection. A reference of reduction in forest inhabitants. Again, I'm not finding any certain connection here. If you find, you can try to establish that by yourself before I answer this, so that you can pause the video and you can make the connection if you find any. Because this will be your methodology of solving it, but we will go to the right answer. Question number 5 says, a reference of asking farmers changing attitude towards wildlife. No, farmers have been mentioned yet. They are not mentioned in this paragraph. So obviously we are eradicating this as right answer. So this is not the right answer. Okay, the advantages for howler monkeys flexibility living in a segmented habitat. As I said, howlers are flexible, they can live anywhere. Spider monkeys cannot live in fragment habitat, but who can live? Howlers. So, howlers' flexibility is helping them to live in fragmented habitat. You can clearly establish the connection because they are flexible, because their flexibility is there. As a result, they are unlike spider monkeys. They are not like spider monkeys. Spider monkeys cannot live in fragmented habitat. So, who can live? Howler monkeys can definitely live there. So, this is the connection you can establish with the question number 6. So, now we are left with two questions. So, I'm skipping some paragraphs because I'm going to cut the chase, because I already know that paragraph E and paragraph F do not carry any answer. So let's save time there. We will directly move to paragraph G. So what paragraph G contains? It says growing human population pressures in Central and South America have led to persistent destruction of forests. Now somehow you can realize that as the question number 1 said, there was a reduction in forest inhabitant. So this might be the right answer, but we are not going to jump to the conclusion before analyzing it completely. So what does it say? It says during the 1990s, about 1.1 million acres of Central American forest were felled yearly. So here they have talked about the reduction in forest area. Inhabitants are uh, the creatures that are living in those places, but here they have actually talked about the reduction in forest area. So I believe, this is just an assumption, I believe that if forest is being reduced, obviously the inhabitants will also be reduced. So let's see that, where does it happen. Okay, further, Alessandro Estrada, an ecologist at this is very difficult to pronounce because it's quite Mexican, I guess, has been exploring how monkeys survive in a landscape increasingly shaped by humans. He and his colleagues recently studied the ecology of a group of mantled howler monkeys that thrive in a habitat completely altered by humans, a cacao plantation in Tabasco, Mexico. Okay, now some connection is building, because if forests are being reduced, some man-made habitats for these monkeys are being built, and howlers are the ones which are easily moving there. Further, like many varieties of coffee, cacao plants need shade to grow. So 40 years ago, the landowners planted fig, monkey pod, and other tall trees to form a protective canopy over their crop. The howlers moved in about 25 years ago after nearby forests were cut. This strange habitat, a hodgepodge of cultivated native and exotic plants, seems to support about as many monkeys as would a same sized patch of wild forest. The howlers eat the leaves and fruit of the shade trees, leaving the valuable cacao pods alone so the farmers tolerate them. Okay, here my connection actually gets established because in the whole paragraph they said that the natural forests are being reduced and artificial kind of, or you can say man-made kind of habitats are being built for howlers, and they are eventually moving there and they are being settled there as well, which is becoming very beneficial for them as well as for the farmers. So this is how I will establish my connection of this particular paragraph with question number 1. Remember, one distractor is there because they have mentioned farmers at the end. But this is just a mention of them. Some of the students might be tempted to mark paragraph G with question number 5, a reference of asking farmers changing attitude towards wildlife. Definitely, there isn't anything like expecting farmers to do this or do that. This is just an outcome that is beneficial for farmers of monkeys moving into those plantations. So more connection is established between paragraph G and question number 1 according to the locations. You can also match these locations by yourself too. You can pause the video, you can read it again and make your connection with question number 1. All right, moving to our last question, question number 5, and for that we are going to read paragraph H. What paragraph H says? Estrada believes the monkeys bring underappreciated benefits to such farms, dispersing the seeds of fig and other shade trees and fertilizing the soil with the feces. He points out that howler monkeys live in shade coffee and cacao plantations in Nicaragua and Costa Rica as well as in Mexico. Spider monkeys also forage in such plantations, though they need nearby areas of forest to survive in the long term. He hopes that, now, please read it carefully. He hopes that farmers will begin to see the advantages of associating with wild monkeys, which includes potential ecotourism projects. So there somebody is expecting farmers to behave in a certain way, and that behavior is to see the wild monkeys or wildlife into a certain context, and that too is in an advantageous context. So now you can clearly see that there is a reference of asking farmers, asking or expecting farmers changing attitude toward wildlife. So there we set the connection between paragraph H and question number 5. So this is entire workshop that is based upon match the information type of questions. No doubt these are a little tricky when you actually practice your reading or you go for your examination. But the right methodology is really going to guide you towards your right answers. And methodology is to first scan and skim the text, know your locations properly, then go to your questions, and then try to establish the proper connection of every question with the given paragraph. If you do that, if you read that paragraph in details, you are certainly going to establish that meaning very clearly. So that's all about match the information questions. Thank you so much.